For the last few years and looking into the future, China is an important aviation market. So when it comes to aircraft orders, it has been a key battleground for the likes of Airbus and Boeing. Part of that equation is Boeing, the US aircraft manufacturer, which has established a presence in the country spanning almost 5 decades. This video will highlight the history of Boeing's presence in China, mostly focusing on commercial aircraft manufacturing. Within the past 50 years, Boeing has secured orders from major airlines in China, though the connection between Boeing and China goes back even further. During the early years of the Boeing company, one of the very first aeronautical engineers for the company was a Chinese national named Wang Tzu. From China, Tzu was one of the first graduates of the then newly formed aeronautical engineering program at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He would join the Boeing company in 1916 and would help in the design of the very first aircraft built by Boeing, the Model C. He would have a short tenure as in 1917 he would return to China, where he would become one of the prominent figures in the start of China's aircraft manufacturing industry. However, there would be no business ties between Boeing and the country of China during and well after Tzu's term in the company. It would be a half-century before any business relationship between Boeing and China would be established. The start of the relationship between Boeing and China would begin after two major events that changed the course of Chinese history, World War II and the Chinese Civil War. As a result, there was no business or diplomatic ties between the US and China. Meanwhile, the airlines in China were using Soviet-built aircraft. That would change in 1972 as then US President Richard Nixon made a historic visit to China. This would open diplomatic and business ties, but one of the highlights was Nixon's arrival on Air Force One, which happened to be a Boeing 707. His arrival could be seen as marketing a product of the US, a Boeing 707, and it seemed to have worked. Within the same year, it would mark the historic turn for Boeing and the start of its presence in China, as Boeing would receive its first aircraft orders from China. That order came from the Civil Aviation Administration of China for 10 707s, and the first of those jets would arrive a year later in 1973. Within the next few years, more aircraft orders would come to Boeing from China, including orders for the 747 in 1976. Over the next few decades, China would play an important part for Boeing's order books. Then the relationship between Boeing and China would go even deeper, as it formed partnerships within the country to establish itself as an important part of the aircraft manufacturer's supply chain. Examples of Boeing aircraft parts sourced from China include vertical fins for the 737, trailing edge ribs for the 747, and cargo doors for the 757, just to name a few. Recently, more work is now being done on Boeing jets in China. In 2018, Boeing opened a 737 completion and delivery center in Zhoushan, China, where finishing work, including the interiors and painting of China-based 737 customers, are done, along with the reception and delivery of the aircraft orders. For the completion work, the aircraft manufacturing is still done mostly at the Boeing's US facilities before being flown to China to the facility. The China-based work will also be expanded to open 2 767 freighter conversion centers in the country by next year. Since the first Boeing aircraft was delivered to China in 1973, Boeing reports over 2,000 of its aircraft have been delivered to the country. This accounts for 1/4 of the total number of civilian aircraft delivered by Boeing worldwide. China is also an even more important for the 737 program, specifically the MAX, as 1/3 of the 737 deliveries are to Chinese-based airlines. In terms of the Chinese-based airlines that operate Boeing aircraft, Boeing accounts 11 airline customers in the country, accounting for 50% of the commercial planes flying in the country today. From the Chinese big three carriers, China Southern, Air China, and China Eastern, to other Chinese airlines like Xiamen Air, Hainan Airlines, Shenzhen, and Junyao, Boeing aircraft have become well represented in the skies over China. For China's economy, the deliveries and the work done in the country for Boeing aircraft contributes to about $1 trillion in economic activity. and over 10,000 Boeing aircraft around the world have parts sourced from the country. Another interesting point in the Boeing and China relationship is the use of the Boeing aircraft when it comes to travel of the Chinese political leadership. Within the past decade, Chinese political leadership, including the premier and the president of the country, have used 4 Boeing 747-400s for long-haul travel. These aircraft have an Air China livery and were prominently featured to the world, and one of the jets was loaned for the use of North Korean Chairman Kim Jong-un when he traveled to his historic diplomatic meeting with then U.S. President Donald Trump in Singapore in 2018. It has been reported now that the Chinese president is now using a 747-8 Intercontinental for long-haul travel. These days, the Boeing business relationship with China has been mixed, as there have been recent trade tensions between the United States and China which have dampened the situation for the company. Another issue has been the Boeing 737 MAX, with China being one of the very first countries to ground the jets following 2 fatal accidents, and up to now there has been ongoing works to lift the ban. Things are about to be interesting as China is turning to homegrown aircraft manufacturing, with COMAC producing the ARJ21 and the C919, a competitor to the Airbus A320 and 737. However, for Boeing, it still remains bullish with the Chinese aviation market, forecasting a higher demand for aircraft in what is forecast to be the top aviation market in the world in the next few decades. I definitely hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This has been Flights in Asia, highlighting the news and updates from the aviation and travel scene in the Asia Pacific. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.